Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. EQ and Nostalgia here, and I got more good news for MMO fans out there. The LGBTQ community is being further represented over here in Elder Scrolls Online by a drag king, which is not a king at all. It's this person here. It's this woman here who has been hired to do some subversive garbage. Imagine that. People being hired. Now, this isn't new. I want people to understand Elder Scrolls Online has been woke for a while. And I remember the missus was playing it, and she pulled me out there and showed me, look what they're doing in this game. And it was some garbage like this. And I'm like, yeah, they're putting it in everything. It's in everything. Ubisoft put it into everything. What's going on with Ubisoft? Oh, no. People. Have you seen the news about Ubisoft? Or Ubisoft? Whatever. I don't even know how to say it. I think it's Ubisoft. They're not doing good. How come they're not doing good? Well, because of constant woke garbage. And the investors are like, hey, whatever you're doing, knock it off. We need to go. We need to take the company private. Now, why would they take it private? That's interesting. There's a deeper conspiracy here, folks, and a lot of people don't talk about it. But word around the campfire is companies like BlackRock, they like to invest in these companies and push them in this direction. And meanwhile, they're not doing that in China. They're bringing out games that are kind of based, and they've got good-looking characters in them, like what was it, The Last Descendant or something like. There's a whole bunch of the games that are coming out of China that are not pushing this stuff, but yet they're pushing this stuff in foreign companies that they invest in. And then when those companies go belly up, they can buy up what's left of them for very little money. So this is, once again, we're pointed to Marxist/communist conspiracies here. Look into that stuff. I'm not the first person to talk about this. I heard Razorfist talking about it the other day. There's been other people talking about it for a while. And I've pointed before to the past over and over and over again. I tell people, go watch When Nations Fall, Echoes of Weimar Republic.
Broad range of female types within the Sapphic culture. It wasn't just the plain old butch femme. You had this broad variation of women. And you had something called the Sharper, who was the older, independent woman who knew all these languages and seduced young housewives and converted young schoolgirls.
Whoa! I can't imagine why people would want to go to war over that, see? There were people on the radio, lesbians, who were actively trying to convert people's wives and their children. Maybe they were war widows, I don't know. But if you were dead, would you want somebody doing that to your family? You know what I mean? So people get pissed off, man. And this is the reaction. There's a reaction on its way.
That year, Magnus Hirschfeld's institute was sacked and destroyed. His papers and writings were burned along with the films he produced. His research materials were confiscated and destroyed. Yep. Hirschfeld himself would become a mascot of the enemy in the coming years, innumerable caricature drawings placing him as Jewish gay public enemy #1. Long before this, too, Hirschfeld was a prominent target. One incident in the 1920s saw him attacked in the street and knocked unconscious. But despite this, he still continued his work.
Look at
Magnus Hirschfeld.
See how this person is grimacing? Like it's not a problem that people were messing with kids. Not a problem. But, oh, poor Hirschfeld and his disgusting, degenerate research. Oh, they were so mean to him. And I just want to point out on the wall here, this is a symbol frequently associated with mind control in the Illuminati circles. This person has like 328,000 subscribers, many, many views, and everybody's on board with it for the most part. Oh, those people, they just, for one, all of a sudden, they just got really mad. They weren't provoked at all. Nothing happened. Nothing happened.
Hirschfeld died in 1934 in exile. Lesbians were not spared social wrath under Nazi rule, as many believed they were, quote, racial degenerates who seduced heterosexual women away from playing their part in the development of the Reich.
And we just saw that that's exactly what they did. That's exactly what they did. As per the people who made the documentary. That's not like coming from the right. They're boasting in this documentary, people, about how great it was. This is coming from them. And they're showing you, they're admitting to it. They're like, oh yeah, and they got on the radio and totally did everything we could to try to get the housewives and then the schoolgirls and everybody we could. And this person's going to sit here and deny it on YouTube. But yet when you try to post that video, it keeps getting removed. Yet when I tried to post that video and other similar videos, I got a strike. do you see that something weird is going on here in YouTube? Something strange is going on, isn't it? Over on Odyssey, it's like an hour plus long. I did on how this kind of stuff happened in the past and how they used these people against the right. So they would prop up the left, use them against the right, get their order out of chaos. It's all very, very tiring for me because I've been talking about this for like a decade. This is nothing new to me. But it's deeper than many people realize. They don't touch on that, and I find that really irritating. They'll just be like, oh, look, they hired one of these people. They're doing all the wokeness. Everybody, let's boycott and blah, 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 and it'll stop there. But nobody ever asks, how come the boycotts don't seem to really do anything? How come the companies are willing to ride this into the dirt and to the point that their company just shuts their doors and they're done? Isn't that strange to anybody? Does anybody think that's weird? People roundly reject this stuff, and don't let them fool you, because they'll come into my comment section. They're going to be in this very comment section gaslighting me, telling me that I'm the problem. I'm just a quote-unquote such and such a phobe, when I'm not afraid of any of this crap. I just put a light over it and tell people exactly what it is. It's Marxist, communist, subversive garbage. It's here to undermine traditional Western values. Period. It's here as a middle finger to the moral background of America, which used to exist. I was alive in the 80s and 90s, I do remember. Now, we did have our degeneracy, but overall, the fabric of America was still pretty strong. It hadn't been eroded yet by all the policies that were passed in the 1960s. It was getting there rapidly, but it didn't look anything like it does now, where Haitians are being pumped in and they're eating people's pets. And they'll tell you that's not really going on too. It's funny how this little culture war goes, but it is a culture war, and people need to be aware of that. Okay? They just keep pushing it, and it doesn't matter, to the point where the people who invest in the company are like, we've got to go private. We're not able to stop this. We have to go private and just reverse course and damage control as much as possible. That should tell you guys something, that there's a deeper overarching conspiracy here, and I can't really get into it here on YouTube. If I do, I will be shut down. Okay? And there's many things I've talked about on this channel that have hurt me on the algo. I want people to understand that right away. There's a reason why most YouTubers don't touch this stuff. Because if you do, you get put on a list where you're not going to grow beyond a certain amount of views for the most part. Your channel's going to have a ceiling, an artificial ceiling that they will not let you past. And I've experienced that firsthand. You can find many videos of people that are experiencing that firsthand. Most of them quit, went to other sites, or outright just stopped making content. They were that dejected by it. Because you're living in a time of mass censorship. And you'll see from this person over here who was talking about this update, what even is this? And he'll mention, my original thread got locked despite or for not being constructive. They'll find any reason to shut you down, by the way, and shut down discourse, because they know that it can't stand against the light of truth. So they have to sweep it under the rug and use everything, every underhanded tactic that they can to try to undermine you. They'll gaslight you, like I said. They'll drop into this comment section and gaslight anybody who goes against their agenda. And a lot of the people that do that, they have no idea what it even is. Like I said, I've had this problem with my own community, EverQuest Online Adventures. A private server to an MMO that shut down in 2012. We have people pushing this crap over there. They got mad when I was talking about EverQuest Pride events and how I hope it doesn't come to EverQuest Online Adventures, because it should not be in the game. It has no reason to be in the game. Why are we putting these real world issues into fantasy video games with elves and dwarves and stuff like that? Well, because they don't want you to get away from it. I've said before that it's extremely divisive, and you're always going to get people like this who come in and they just rabble rouse, and you're the problem, and I don't know why you can't just, let people get along. It's not about that. It's about excluding you and everything normal and subverting your values. And a lot of people who watch this channel understand that. I've gotten comments from people who understand that this is deeper than it appears to be. Now, I have to be careful when talking about this, but I want to touch on it a little bit. This agenda is a global agenda. And what do I mean by that? Well, it's here to undermine the West and prop up other parts of the world. I'm going to get a little biblical on people. If you read the Bible and what it says about the last days and everything that goes down, you see that it looks like Russia and China, because they describe the nation as animals. You know, the bear and the lion and all these different things. If you read it, it's pretty deep. Revelation's pretty deep. But most Christians agree that it looks like China and Russia come together with other nations and start to whoop everybody's butt. And I've told people about this before. I'm like, you need to keep an eye on Russia and China. You need to keep an eye on the BRICS nations, because out of nowhere, these people, they rise up and they just start whooping everybody. And it looks to me like that's exactly what this is leading into. We're going to have a society that does not use money the way that we think of money. It's all going to be digitized, or digital, and a mark in your hand, that kind of thing. Christians know where this is going. This is not news to anybody who's been studying this kind of stuff, but they want a global empire. And the problem with a global empire is, well, if you take a look at history, pretty much every government ever has turned on its citizenry and become tyrannical. And usually when they do that, before they do that, they try to take your weapons away. And there's an old-fashioned saying that says, when they take your guns, it's because they're getting ready to do something that you would shoot them for. Well, now you can see why they've been so crazy about removing all of that from these nations, from these Western nations. They already got Europe. Like, they got all their guns over there. And if you take a look at what's been going on over there, it's not looking good. You've got social and political unrest. You've got all this racial tension everywhere as they pump these people into your countries, and people are getting fed up. At the same time, they're trying to take away your right to defend yourself. Really? With everything that's going, if you can't see that there's something wrong here, and I get that this is freaky, and a lot of people reject what I'm saying because it's scary. You don't want to think about where that's going. That sounds terrifying. You were told your whole life that you're in a civilized world. We don't act like they used to back in the day. We're never gonna do that again. We know better. Damn it, we've got flat screen TVs. We've got virtual reality. We don't behave like that anymore. We're this close to becoming like the Starship Enterprise 2.0. Where's Starfleet? Let's go. The world doesn't work like that. There are people who want to control the masses. And traditionally, governments have always been afraid of their people, and they seek to control their people. And one of the ways to control folks is to pit them against each other so that they're not busy looking at you. Now, if the left is constantly fighting with the right over everything from video games to movies to guns to the issue on abortion, all these different things, if people are constantly divided along these lines, they're not looking at the people at the top and what's really going on, which is why I constantly encourage people to go deeper. Watch When Nations Fall, Echoes of Weimar Republic. Watch Europa, The Last Battle. I want people to understand that the history that they gave to you and all the things that they tried to teach you in school are not for your benefit. History, and they told you this too. They sat you down and told you, and I know you remember this if you think back to your school days. History is written by the victor. Does anybody remember hearing that? History is a series of agreed upon lies. Now, when the people who founded this country said that we give you a republic as long as you can keep it, they knew that it wasn't going to be kept because it has never been kept. All empires trend this way over time, and it's a terrifying thing to think about, and it pisses people off, man. They don't like when I go there because I'm pulling them out of their escapism. But I'm not really the one who's pulling you out of your escapism if you think about it. Like I said, they brought this battle to your doorstep. They started this garbage way back. They started it with Anita Sarkeesian and probably even going before her. And I got cats knocking things over in my room. So they have been very busy with this agenda for a long time. And like I said, this is nothing new. This stuff has been pumped into these games for years. I look back at Division 1, which is one of my favorite games from the past several years. I like looter shooters. Division 1, It's got all sorts of stuff in it that's really sus. And people wonder why there's conspiracy theories. If you take a look at the watch for the Division, it looks like a corona. What is the Division 1 about? Oh, it's about this virus that shuts down society and everybody goes crazy. And then 2 years after the game comes out, that's pretty much what happened. It didn't get to that point. Like, we didn't have Armageddon, right? It wasn't like a fallout in the streets. But a lot of the stuff that game talked about happened. And their symbol that they use is a corona. And then you fast forward to Division 2 and you've got all this political upheaval. All this stuff going on in Division 2 where, you got the True Sons fighting against this organization and that organization. And if you look into these games, they've always been woke, man. I saw an article from Polygon, which, it broke my heart. It broke my heart. I encourage people to check this out. I'll probably have it in the description for you to read. But they went there with this stuff, with the whole Native American and how they were, just being pushed down and all this evil stuff. And it's still happening today. Basically, this comes down to white man bad. And, you got your star right here. I don't know if you guys can... What's that? Whoa. How'd that end up there? Anyway, so you got... I'm telling you, they're going to just shut me down. It's over. I can't shut up about this stuff. It's so irritating. And I'm part Sioux, by the way. All right? I have Sioux blood, just so people know. I'm not gonna submit an application for people to check that out, but you'll have to take my word for it. Here we go. Here's the point. Here's what I was looking for. At one point, I got a bounty to kill a true son named Jefferson, who is capturing civilians as a tribute to his father, Thomas Jefferson, who kept actual slaves. The tagline is that I need to end his forefathers' legacy of slavery. So they put this shit under your nose. You know how many people are playing Division 2 and have no idea that they're telling you your country is inherently evil, your forefathers bad, white people bad? That's what they've been doing this for a long time, guys. Okay? And these companies are full. All of these devs, if you take a look at them, have you looked at a dev team lately? It's not the dev team you grew up with. All right, it's just not the people who are making games that you were growing up to. They're not gamers making games for you. They are Marxist activists making games for you. And their first priority is to make sure they scramble the brains of the new generation. Now, this doesn't work on a lot of us who are older, but you have to understand there are impressionable minds who are playing this garbage, and they are forming their worldview. And if you don't think that pop culture forms people's worldview, you're very silly. It absolutely does. Which is why I will point people to a channel on YouTube. I recommend you watch some of his stuff. He dissects a lot of these movies. Blackpilled. I've spoke against him before because some of the stuff he says I don't agree with. And I think it's leading people down a dark path. But he's absolutely right when he points out all the subversion in these movies. I recommend you take a look at the one he did on Pleasantville. I can't remember exactly what it was called. I'll have it up on your screen for you to check it out. Watch that full video. I want you to see how deceptive these writers and producers are. There's a reason why a lot of us don't like Hollywood anymore, and we don't like Silicon Valley, and we don't like any of the stuff that's going on with our modern culture, because it is absolutely brainwashing people. And like I said, most people don't talk about this stuff over on social media and on YouTube and whatnot. They're just going to point to this. They're going to give you some very surface level stuff. They're going to collect their views and get their money, and that's it. They're going to cash out. And then they're going to do it again and again and again and again and again. I don't really want to keep talking about this stuff. I've had people accusing me of grift. Oh, you're just grifting off of this. I hate talking about negative stuff. I never made this channel about drama in the past. I've been here since 2011. I've talked about things that have drama around them, but I never went full-blown drama mode, which is mostly what YouTube loves to promote nowadays. In case you didn't notice. People talking about this content creator. Oh, this guy did this guy did that. Ever since Leafy became a thing. I really miss what YouTube used to be about back in the day. Just a bunch of nerds talking about their hobbies, the things that they were into. I miss those days. So don't get it twisted. This is not something that I like to do. But I cannot sit on my hands while this continues to happen, and they give you like the gatekeeper's approach to what it is. This is deeper than you think, and this is leading to some very nasty stuff, which is why I always tell people to seek Jesus Christ, pray for a sign, let His Spirit lead you in all truth, because as soon as I did that, I was able to connect the dots. I mean, I kind of got it before that. I saw that something was wrong, but once I submitted to Him and I said, please let me see what's really going on in the world, He gave me more than I can handle. I had to pray. There was a point where I was praying for wisdom, and then I had to pray for Him to stop because it became too heavy. That's how much wisdom He dropped in my lap. I was like, okay, that's enough, Lord. I don't need to know anymore. This is too heavy. It's depressing. The more you learn about the way the world really works and the way history really went down and how the future is playing out right before your very eyes, it's heavy stuff. But I have faith in Him. I have faith that this is not my final destination. I'm going somewhere better. But while I'm here on this earth, I have to occupy and I have to show people what's going on. That's what I feel like I've been called to do. Open your eyes, people. And I know I've pissed off a lot of people over here. I don't know if you're listening to me. Somebody I might have made mad a while ago, and you're just starting to maybe see that some of the stuff I said is actually happening. If that's you, please dig deeper. A couple of years ago, I talked about EverQuest Online Adventures and how it had a lot of occult influence in it, and it absolutely does. A lot of these games do. I talked about Druids, which is like my favorite class in any MMO, and how I had no idea what Druids were all about back in the day. That was an actual order. It was like a cult. And the things that they did and how nasty it was. And it made a lot of people angry. But you guys have got to wake up to the world around you. You can't afford to sleepwalk through this. But you're gonna be seeing some very, very bad times, like pretty soon. In case you haven't noticed everything going on politically lately, it's been getting crazy. Things have been heating up. Everything that's going on between the two candidates we have, I've spoken about that before, how it's absolutely meant to divide people. You've got this white male conservative versus this black person of color. I don't even know. I don't know her ethnicity, but she's on the left and she's a female. I mean, it's night and day. It's meant to divide people along two very different lines. And it's going to get ugly no matter who wins. It doesn't matter who becomes president. I've told people this before. If Kamala gets in, you got a quick death. If Trump gets in, it'll be slower. Pick your poison. You want stage 2 or 4 cancer? Those are your choices, okay? These people are selected. They're pre-selected, man. And if you can't see that they do that, I don't know what to say to you. You can call me a conspiracy theorist if you want, but within the next 5 to 10 years, as everything starts to fall apart around your head, I hope you'll consider the words that I told you, and I hope the one thing that you think about is when I told you to reach out to Jesus Christ, because that's what I want to see everybody doing. Now I want to turn it over to you guys down in the comment section. Let me know what you think about this. Please hit the upvote. It really helps to get this out there. Not that I think it's going to really be promoted past a certain point, but yeah, if you're new, you like what you see, subscribe, hit the notification bell. God bless, and I look forward to seeing you all in the next video.